Okay. Today I'm going to start with the third unit, that is limitations of conventional tubes at high frequency. And previously I have used the basic concepts. The few cases I have discussed. Why few components which we are using at lower frequencies, why cannot be same? It is being used at higher frequencies. Okay. So very less strength it is been recording now, only 43 out of 65. Where now let me start. See here, for amplification we have used at low frequency. First I'll be taking you at lower frequency. At lower frequencies where we have used some amplifier circuits. Consider this is some amplifier circuit, and where we are giving enough input is being given and we are taking the output at this particular case. So let this be enough input which we are giving and we are taking the output at an see, this is enough amplified output we are taking out. Now it is being found that whatever the amplifier circuit, it is been designed by making use of transistors, capacitors, inductors, and so on, and resistors. So these are the general components which is being used to design the amplifier circuit at lower frequencies. But what happens when we use a lower frequency, we'll get enough a normal amplification to our requirement. So we'll, according to the norms, whatever we want, so accordingly we'll be giving the input and the design will be accordingly framed over here and we'll get the respective amplification. So this was normally happened at lower frequency. But as we are discussing about the higher frequencies, that is been frequencies greater than gigahertz, it is in terms of gigahertz. Okay, that is approximately 10 to the power of 9 hertz. Greater than 10 to the power of 9 hertz we are operating now. The frequencies are at this particular level. Then, but whereas here it has been of normal frequencies, at lower frequencies less than in terms of kilohertz or megahertz, to some extent we'll be making use of this particular circuitry with all these devices. But when we move to the case of 10 to the power of 9, that is been in terms of gigahertz, then it has been very difficult to analyze or to amplify the signal by using these components. So these components cannot be used. Okay, so at frequencies in terms of gigahertz for amplification. And the main reason, that's what why we are not able to use these devices at higher frequencies. Okay, what are the drawbacks it has, what are the limitations? So that's what we are going to discuss now. The limitations of conventional tubes, that is nothing but triodes, tetrodes, and pentodes. So these are some of these conventional tubes which cannot be used at higher frequencies. Okay, so that's the main drawback. Here these cannot be used. And why these conventional tubes and the devices like capacitor and inductor cannot be used to amplify at higher frequencies? So that's what our intention to know about it, why it cannot be used. So that the title it has been given as limitations of conventional tubes at higher frequencies. So let me give a clarity why it cannot be used. So first we have some basic points. There are around 3 to 4 reasons we have. Okay, so there are 3 to 4 reasons why these conventional tubes cannot be used at higher frequencies. First, make it a note that where we have some circuit reactance, we have some circuit reactance. The circuit reactance. So this circuit reactance, it has inter-electrode capacitance, where it has been having inter-electrode capacitance. That is called it as IEC, inter-electrode capacitance. And the other case we have the circuit reactance as the lead inductance. We have lead inductance. So these are the two types of circuit reactance we have, due to which uh, these cannot be used to. Okay, it cannot be preferable to use at higher frequencies, and we are going to discuss in detail why these are not preferred. And the second reason we have, so these are, I am listing out the limitations of these following points. The limitations are these following points why we are unable to use the conventional tubes at higher frequencies. The first point is circuit reactance. The second one we have transit time effect. Transit time effect is the another reason. And third one we have cathode emission. Cathode emission and plate heat dissipation area. Plate heat dissipation area and power loss due to skin effect. Okay, these are some of the basic points why the conventional tubes cannot be used at higher frequencies. Now I'll be discussing one by one. What are the major points we have, why we are not preferring these conventional tubes at higher frequencies. Okay, now let me discuss the first one. Coming to the first point, we have one of the conventional tube. I am taking the diagram. The first one I am considering, that is circuit reactance. I am considering the circuit reactance, where we have the problem of inter-electrode capacitance and lead inductance. So these are the circuit reactants which are affecting the amplification. Okay, so let me explain what is happening over here, why it cannot be done. So what is the major problem we have? Now for that, I am considering one of the conventional tube as a triode. So where that it is the symbol of triode, where normally I am considering it as there are three terminals of the triode. We have three terminals where, and here we have a capacitive effect. So this is the diagram of triode. There are three terminals in a case of triode, hence it is being named as tri. Tri means three. Okay, so this is the anode. I am representing it by P here, and here this is another terminal called as a cathode. I am representing it by a K, and at the center we have the another terminal. It is being called as grid. It is being represented by G. Now these are the three terminals we have: anode, cathode, and grid are the three terminals of the triode. Now there is a capacitive effect between these three terminals, which is being noted as the capacitance between anode and cathode effect, the capacitance between the gate and anode, and here the capacitance between the gate, the grid and the cathode. Grid and cathode, here is grid and anode. So these are the capacitive effects which is being influenced the operation of the triode while amplifying it. Now it has been observed that the reactances, before knowing to this, the reactance of inductance, the reactance of capacitance. Coming to the reactance of the inductance, capacitance, it is being given as XC is equal to 1 by 2 pi FC, and whereas the reactance due to inductance is being equal to 2 pi EFEL. It is being equal to 2 pi FL. So now with this we can easily analyze that here it is being that frequency is being inversely proportional here to the reactance, and here it is been directly proportional to the reactance. the frequency is directly proportional to the reactance of the inductance, and here the frequency is being inversely proportional to the reactance of the capacitance. Now, in this case, it has been found that while operating at different frequencies, as the frequency is being increased, these two are inductor and capacitor are considered to be storage elements. Inductor and capacitor are considered to be storage elements. Now, when it is being operated at higher frequencies, the reactance of the capacitance is being gradually decreasing at one side. And similarly, you can see that here also, as the frequency increases, here, the reactance of the inductance will be increased over here. Now, as we are designing a circuit which consists of inductor and capacitor together in one circuitry. Now, the effect of these two components will be exactly different according to the same parameter it is being influenced. Okay, as the frequency is being increased, you can see that the effect of reactance due to capacitance is being decreasing. On other side, the reactance of inductance is being increasing here. So this is how it is being affected. So as more and more frequency it is being operated, the reactance, the effect of reactance is gradually becoming nil. Gradually it becomes nil here. But in this case, other case, if you increase the frequency, the reactance of the inductance will be keep on increasing. Okay. So in this case, you can find that either of the devices will be no influence. There is no influence of either of the devices when the frequency is being increasing. So one, if you want to bring down, other will be increased. Other we want to bring down, then this will be increased. Okay. So in simultaneously, it has been difficult to manage the required values here in order to achieve a better amplification. The final statement I'm concluding that here it is being difficult to assign a XC value and XC value which is being required to get a better amplification. So that's what it is being failing here. Okay. So we cannot maintain a balance over here by increasing this frequency because of these different relations we got. Okay. So that's what the capacitance and inductance cannot be used at higher frequencies. Okay. So this is a major point why we are not preferring these inductance and capacitances at higher frequencies. Am I clear? And are you getting the things? Please do respond so that okay. Okay, fine. And please be attentive on it. It's been very important. It has been asked directly in the examinations. Okay. So that I am insisting. It's been very simple. You can write it in your own words. Okay. So that's what we have found in difficulty in this case, where you cannot use the second one. In a normal at higher frequencies, it cannot be preferred. Now we are moving out to the transit time effect. So what is this transit time effect? Let me explain now. So this transit time. So before going to the transit time, second effect, transit time effect. Now, before going to this effect, let me explain what do you understand by this transit time. Anybody can tell me what is meant by transit time? You can unmute yourself and you can tell it. No problem if you get wrong also, but trying has been important here. You can put it in the chat box also. I'm waiting for your response on it. What is the transit time? Just try to do it and transit time. You might have heard previously so many times regarding this, where it is being taken in, just now I have given an example of triode. Example of triode I have given just now. So you can see this particular triode. Here we have it is in a cathode and this is in a anode. Now, when it is been giving influence, one of the student, finally, it is being given as time taken to change from one state to another. To some extent, but it is being relevant to some different parameter and nice to give then a response. Fine. Let me try here. Good, Andy. I'm getting then a response. Okay, anyhow, fine. Let me also give it what is this transit time from my side. As here, whenever this triode, it is being operated with certain supply voltage, it has been found that the cathode starts emitting the electrons. Cathode starts emitting the electrons, and they try to move from cathode to anode, which is being separated by a distance d. Okay, then we can define the transit time, that time taken by the electrons to travel from cathode to anode. Let me do it once again. The time taken by the electron to travel from cathode to anode is being termed as transit time. So it's been very simple. Okay, transit time, time taken to travel from cathode to anode is being said to be transit time. So this is a simple definition we have. Now, let me explain what is the effect. What happens here if we increase or decrease. So for that, let me consider one of the diagram where the transit time, which can be explained by taking the same example just now I have given, as a triode. It is being taken and it is being given with certain supply voltage. Now, when the voltage is being applied, here the voltage is being applied, and here we have an anode P, and here we have a cathode, and this is being given by the grid G, and here the electron starts emitting here from this cathode to anode. They starts their journey, and the current traveling here, it will be given as the electrons are moving in this particular direction, the current will be moving opposite. So it is an anode current IP. I am giving it. It is been coming in this particular direction. And these two plates, anode and cathode, are separated by a distance d here. These two are separated by a distance d. And this is the cathode we have. This is the cathode. And it is been having some velocity of electrons V naught. V naught is the velocity of electrons which are moving from cathode to anode. So this is the approximation I have considered for defining a transit time effect at higher frequencies. Now, the transit time, it is being given by a simple expression. Transit time tau, it is been represented by tau. It is being given by d by V naught, where d is the distance between these two plates and V naught is the velocity of electrons. Now, with this, let us consider that what is being affecting here, so that we cannot use at higher frequencies. Now, under equilibrium condition, we have static energy is being equal to the kinetic energy. So from this, if we equate these two, as we know that the static energy is being given by EV, the kinetic energy is being given by half mv naught square. Okay, so this is under equilibrium condition, we get this particular expression. Now equating these two, we get as V naught will be equal to root of 2, this V naught I'm taking here, 2E, I'm taking this V divided by, wait a minute here. So when we take here, it is been 2EV. So this can be written as 2EV by M into V not square. When we take this into root, then we get this as 2EV by M. So this is nothing but V naught. Now substituting the value of this V naught in this particular transit time expression. When we substitute here, then we get the expression as tau is equal to D by 2EV by M. So now let me explain what happens with this expression which we have got just now. So it is been seen that to get as much as possible, the transit time should be very much less for getting more amplification. That this here, the time taken by the electrons to travel from cathode to anode should be less, so that the amplification, the operational functional will be very fast. Okay, so that's how we have to maintain. Now, what happens here because of some problem, because of in order to achieve a more, the distance which is being taken should be less here. If we take less distance, the time taken will be less over here. But you can see that the effect of, we know that C is equal to epsilon naught A by D. We have one of this expression. Here we can find that as the distance increases, the effect of capacitance is being keep on increasing here. Okay, there is certain amount of limit. Beyond that, we cannot increase or decrease. So our intention is we have to decrease this. Okay, if we decrease, the transit time will be increasing. Okay, that's what our requirement. But if we decrease the distance here, see here, if we decrease the distance, capacitance will be keep on increasing. The effect of capacitance will be very much high. Okay, so that it means creating in a problem once again. So up to certain limits we can increase this capacitance, but beyond that we cannot increase here. So that's what we have found, that up to certain amount we can decrease this distance. Beyond that we cannot decrease over here. So as in order to maintain a certain value of capacitor, this should be maintained certain distance. The distance should be maintained to certain limits. Okay, so if distance is being limited here, then the transit time will be increased over here. As the transit time increases, then what happened? The effect ultimately fall on the amplification there. Okay, so that's how this is the transit time effect we have. More the transit time increases here, the transit time increases, the frequency is been decreasing. Okay, so this is how the time period has been keep on increasing here, where the frequency will be affecting. So more and more time period will be there, the frequency will be decreasing here. So that's how it's been limited to increase the distance of and decrease the distance between the plates. So this is the major effect we have, the transit time effect. So this is the second major limitation of conventional tubes at microwave frequencies. Now coming to the third one, it's been very simple, Andy. The third one is been power dissipation. We have seen power dissipation. We'll see what is this power dissipation here. Coming to this power dissipation and the cathode emission, here the area of the cathode, here if we increase the same, we have got power dissipation and cathode emission. To certain limits here, C naught, it is epsilon A by D. As it is being, the capacitance is being influenced by not only the distance, but also it is being influencing the area of the plates. If the area of the plates is being increased, then automatically the capacitance is being increasing. To certain amount of area only it can be restricted to use. After that, it may affect to the dissipation. Power dissipation may affect if we increase this area to some beyond the limits over here. Okay, so it is been restricted. We cannot increase this areas to certain higher values. Okay, so we should maintain some limited area of these plates, beyond which we cannot increase or decrease. That may lead to the problem of amplification. So that's how, because of this, the power dissipation may also increase, and it may affect the emission of the cathode also, because it also not only depends upon the area, it also depends upon the distance. So each and every component and every parameter value is being interlinked, so that we cannot increase or decrease those values beyond the limits where it affects the efficiency of the operating efficiency of the particular device operation. So that's how these are the limitations we have about the components which cannot be used at higher frequencies. And we do have the last one, as I've said, the skin effect losses. We have the skin effect losses. We'll see what are these skin effect losses, where when the wave is being penetrating into certain material, from one material to other material, something like that, then what happens? The where we have a relation that skin effect, skin depth, it is being represented by delta over here, which is being equal to, given by expression 2 by omega mu sigma, where omega is the angular frequency, mu is the permeability of the material in which the wave is being propagating, and sigma is the conductivity. Okay, so this what we have the effect. Okay, so that from this we can analyze that it is 1 by root omega, so which is been equal to 1 by root of 2 pi f. Okay, so where the effect of area, it can be given that the effective area, it is being influenced with the frequency which is being given by root f. Okay, so this is the main relation which is being obtained here, and it is being also given that R is equal to rho L by A, that is nothing but effective area. So each and everything, it is being interrelated. This can be given as rho L by, it is given by 1 by root f, which is been equal to rho L by root f. Okay, so here we can find that as the frequency increases, the resistivity is been going to affect. Okay, so the resistance, this is being going to affect. So each and every case, as it is been totally depends upon the frequencies, as at very high frequency we will be operating, then it is being resistivity of that particular material is going to be affected. So each and every parameter has been interlinked, so that these all the 4 major limitations it has, because of which we cannot use these conventional tubes like triode and tetrode, pentode, or the capacitors and inductors. All these such conventional devices cannot be used at higher frequencies. So this is the final statement. It can be concluded as where this is the major losses or limitations we are going to observe when those are used at microwave frequencies. So this is the topic of limitations we have, which is being discussed just now, so that we prefer some other equipment or devices which can support at higher frequency to get amplified. Okay, so that at higher frequencies we prefer some other components. Okay, some other components are designed, and those are termed to be microwave components. Those are termed to be microwave components which are used at higher frequencies. Okay, and the sources used is also different. Okay, that's what we have discussed in you might be knowing that in a laboratory, where we have used a klystron source. In case of klystron characteristics of klystron diode, the first experiment you might have performed through online, which is being done in the previous month. The klystron source or klystron diode is one of the source which generates the microwave energy. So it is being used at higher frequencies, that is in terms of gigahertz. Okay, so some separate sources are used, separate microwave components are used, separate mechanism it is being done. Okay, so this is how. Now I'm going to introduce what type of amplifiers, okay, what type of amplifiers and oscillators are used at microwave frequencies. We know that CE amplifier, CC amplifier, CB amplifier, which are used at lower frequencies. But in this case, we have different types of amplifiers we prefer to operate at higher frequency, that is in terms of gigahertz. Okay, So now I'm going to give the classification of these microwave devices where we use at higher frequencies. Now coming to the classification. The classification we have, there are various type of classifications which come under the category of these microwave components. Let me introduce. We have two types of components here. So where the microwave tubes, the total at higher frequencies, the microwave tubes are being used. So the meeting is going to wind up in 5 minutes. Please join back, Andy. I'm going to explain this one of the microwave tube I'm going to explain, and tomorrow there are two classes, and one class I'll be using for the conduction of quiz 2, and after that, and one I'll be taking as a theory. Okay, so now I'm going to give a classification of tubes or amplification or classification of tubes. I'm going to give over here. The classification of tubes, it has been the major, it has been given as, please, I'm going to ask a few questions based upon this particular third unit also. Okay, just one or two questions. The tubes, it is being classified as O type tubes. O type tubes or M type tubes. The major classification are the sources used to amplify at microwave frequency. This is the major classification. O type tubes, and second one is M type tubes. These are also called as linear tubes. Linear tubes, and these are called as crossed field type. Crossed field type. Crossed field type tubes, and these are linear beam. Linear beam or O type tubes, which can be called by either of the names only. It can be called by M type tubes or crossed field type tubes. And why it is being called as O type tubes? It because we are operating it in of AC and DC currents. So AC current, where we have AC and DC, both AC and DC will be linear. In this case, AC supply and DC supply both will be linear in case of O type tube, so that it is being called as linear beam type tubes. But whereas in case of M type tubes, AC and DC are crossing, or they cross each other, are perpendicular to each other, we can say they cross each other. Okay, so that it is being termed as crossed field type tubes. Repeating it once again, AC voltage and DC voltage will be linear. Such type of tubes can be considered as linear beam type tubes or O type tubes. But whereas in case of M type tubes, the AC voltage and DC voltage get crossed. Both are crossing each other. So that they said to be crossed field type tubes or M type tubes. And in this case, O type tubes, we have several classifications, and we are going to discuss about, there are as per your syllabus, we have two cavity klystron amplifier. Two cavity klystron amplifier, and we have a reflex klystron. We have reflex klystron. In whatever the laboratory we are making use, that is nothing but reflex klystron only. Okay, so reflex klystron, these are the two as per the syllabus. There is classification has been lodged, but these two are as per the syllabus you have, we are going to discuss. And here in case of M type tubes, magnetron. So these are the three topics we are going to discuss in the third unit only. Okay, what is its operation, how it is been operating? We have one or two derivations related to this. Similarly, these reflex klystron and magnetron. So these are the three topics we are going to discuss in the third unit. Today, I am going to discuss about the two cavity klystron amplifier, and almost all 50 is the strength. Please be back. It's been very important, and I'm going to ask one or two questions based upon or it may be of more than 2 also in few cases, based upon the topic which I am going to discuss now. Okay, please make sure that, and that should be the difference between the regularity, the students who are attending regular and those who are regular. At least 1 or 2 or 3 marks to be get definite differentiation between the regular students and irregular students. They have to feel their responsibility. Okay, now we are going to discuss in detail regarding this two cavity Klystron amplifier. So the main title here we have two cavity Klystron amplifier. It's very important and easy and interesting, and two cavity Klystron amplifier. Okay, I'm going to explain what is this two cavity Klystron amplifier so that you can clearly understand the structure. By drawing itself, we can easily understand.